I think this is written so well. It's almost like Hemingway.
Yeah, yeah,
He
dude, Hemingway, Baby Shoes was like it's not about the words, it's about what the words mean outside of them. And
yeah.
this is a longer version of that where that it's the same experience where ooh, it makes you feel shit and it's not what's said, it's what is implied. And that's huge here. Hey, everybody out there. Welcome back to another episode of the Audiophiles and a very Merry Christmas to all of you tuning in who celebrate. And to all those who don't, well, happy Thursday. Welcome back to another episode. Today, John is going to be offering me up one of his two. This will be his second Christmas theme or holiday theme song. The first one was a bit of a stretch, but we'll see what we have in store for us today. John, what are you going to have me go off and listen to today?
Yeah, so yeah, festive greetings to everybody. You should be enjoying the turkey or your family or both. And instead you're watching this, so you get all you deserve. So we listen to a track by Mr. Tom Waits.
Nice. All right. It is Christmas.
This track, to be fair, I penciled in mentally for Christmas back in February of this year. So but I just knew straight away I was going to get this to you. The track is called Christmas Card from a Hooker in Minneapolis.
Great. Great. So all of those of you out there who should be spending time with your family doing quality stuff, this is what you get. You get a Christmas card from a hooker from Minneapolis. Okay. All right. Interesting. Man, that's a hell of a name. But I guess with weights, it's like, is it really that much of a surprise? So let me go off and give this thing a spin, and I'll come back and let you know my thoughts.
Oh, back to Blue Valentine, I see. Oh, lovely. Before he even starts singing, just based off this little bit of ivory tickling that's going on here, I'm already, and this is sort of where Waits left me the last time we listened, but I'm in a smoke filled bar room, low lit, and just outside the door, snowfall is accumulating. Like, that's instantly where my head's at. I don't know if it's because, I know we're sort of devoting this week to the holidays, and we often think of a white Christmas, or at least that, this sort of, these holidays sort of herald in the coming of winter, and with that comes snow. But I don't know. I feel like I'm, you know, in a subterranean bar in Boston or Chicago or Minneapolis, and there's a musician sitting at a piano playing as a few lonely people slurp whiskey and smoke cigarettes.
Charlie, I'm pregnant,
There's one more
living on Ninth Street, right above a dirty bookstore off Euclid Avenue. Now stop taking dope, I quit drinking whiskey. My old man plays the trombone, works out at the track. says that it loves me,
That's nice.
even though it's not his baby. He says that it raised him up like it was on sun. He gave me a ring that was worn by his mother. He takes me out dancing every Saturday night. Hey, Charlie, I think about you every time I pass the filling station. On the counter, all the grease you used to wear in your hair. I still have that record, Little Anthony and the Imperials. But someone stole my record player. Oh, now how do you like that? Hey, Charlie, I almost went crazy after Mario got busted. I went back to Omaha to live with my folks. Everyone I used to know was either dead or in prison. So I came back to Minneapolis. This time I think I'm gonna stay. Charlie, I think I'm happy for the first time since my accident. I wish I had all the money we used to spend on dope. Buy me a used car lot, and I wouldn't sell any of them.
Yeah.
Just drive a different car every day, depending on how I feel.
Oh, man. This is so sad. I mean, there are little... She, the author, hints at these, like, little bits of silver lining to maybe... that might suggest that there's something to be happy about, but, you know... These aren't the best circumstances. I don't think anybody grows up envisioning themselves in this situation or any of these scenarios. And clearly this Charlie, despite where she's been and where she's at right now in life, still means a great deal to her. Why is that?
Hey, Charlie, for God's sake, if you want to know the truth of it, don't have a husband. He don't play the trombone.
Of course not.
I need to borrow money to pay this lawyer, Charlie. Hey,
Fuck.
I'll be eligible for parole come Valentine's Day.
I fucking hate myself for loving this shit. It's so dire and sad and lonely and lascivious, all of this stuff. But my God, it makes you think. And she gives you plenty. She through, I guess, Charlie reading this letter and us getting a glimpse into it, gives us plenty of like information to chew on and digest. But there's also the unspoken stuff, or like the conclusions that we can draw like on our own with the information that we have at hand. So she comes clean about lying about, you know, the significant other who's going to raise this child as his own. And to only then ask for financial assistance, and it's just so it's so goddamn depressing. I mean, there is this, I don't know, there's this bit of like poetic irony of the most depressing variety to all of this. You know, the allusion to Valentine's Day at the end and being eligible for parole, you know, just in time, suggests that maybe there still resides in her this hope that not only will Charlie help her out financially, but maybe return to celebrate her potential parole and to rekindle whatever it is that they had, which I'm sure is a wildly misplaced expectation. How do I know that? Because my assumption is that the Charlie character in this song is kind of responsible for its title. And to him, she is nothing more than a hooker in Minneapolis. And nobody drops what they're doing to run back to Minneapolis to father a child on someone that they deem to be a hooker. Or like that's their title and thus their value. So that's super fucking sad, especially when you consider like it's around Christmas. So yeah, this is really dark and depressing, but it does make you think. And maybe once you get beyond the sad nature of this, it gives you a little bit better perspective about your own situation. Nobody's life is perfect and things aren't always great, and the holidays can be a really weird time, where you have to go and you know, meet with family members and maybe portray this sense of joy that isn't always there. But for me, it's never been this fucking bad. So I guess from while she was fishing for silver linings throughout her, you know, the yarn that she was spinning in that card, you know, maybe it's easier for me to find them as well, having listened to this. Yeah, I god damn, I loved the song. Oh, all of these. I'm just glad I got to a point where I'm finding more charm in Waite's voice, for the most part, and getting beyond that to really sink my teeth into the narrative that's being told, because he knows how to tell a story that provides you just enough on face value to walk away with something. But then if you take the time to dig a little deeper and draw certain conclusions and go where he wants you to go without explicitly telling you, it adds a whole nother layer of enjoyment to the listening experience. Yeah, this was fabulous. Well, I can't wait to get back to John and discuss this further, so let's hop to it.
Morecambe and Wise Christmas special is back. So you've had a listen to this Christmas card from a hooker in Minneapolis by Mr. Waits. What do you reckon?
I reckon a lot of things, which we will get to by the end of this. I swear to God. So on top of getting pretty much a confirmation from looking just beyond your shoulder, I immediately see that we are back in Blue Valentine territory, based off the thumbnail. And the song begins with the soothing sounds of ivories being tickled by Mr. Waits. And I can't put my finger on how or why this is, but there is something about just this musical aesthetic that really conveys in my mind something that's been conveyed before, honestly, when we've listened to his music, but this low-lit, smoke-filled bar, providing somewhat of a respite or lonesome shelter from the snowfall just outside the doors to the unlucky few who don't have anything better to do with their time or their holiday. And I'm imagining like one of these subterranean bars where you have to walk down steps on the roadside to get inside, like Cheers, but a much sadder, more pathetic version of Cheers. Where when you walk in, no one yells out your
Yeah,
name, they just
it would be called Tears.
Yeah, yes, it would. Yes. Exactly, John. So yeah, like a Boston or a Chicago or a Minneapolis, some place that's cold and you want to get away from it, and the only thing to do is just drink. Um, and just as the music from the piano is lulling me into this mood and building the setting, Waits' voice comes in with all the charm of a voice belonging to the man who, at least in part, is responsible for the smoke-filled atmosphere. It's gravelly and gruff, but beneath that, there is oddly some warmth, and it's not just the kind provided by the whiskey or the Pall Malls. There's something there, like a faint hint of what once was the tenderness that existed in that voice. And I love it. It used to be the number one thing that turned me off, and I'm not saying it's picture perfect every time I hear it, but it's so charmingly its own thing that it's really starting to I'm warming to it over this last year or so that we've been dabbling in his stuff. And he cuts right to the chase, or she does if he's reading it. Hey, Charlie, I'm pregnant, living on 9th Street, right above a dirty bookstore off Euclid Avenue. And I'm already beginning to understand the contents of this newly received Christmas card. Um, and she, through his recitation, continues to explain her situation, and how she is off dope and alcohol, and how her trombone playing man is staying by her side despite knowing the child isn't his. And despite his commitment to her and the prospect of raising this child and marrying her, she can't help but reminisce about this Charlie, to whom the card is addressed. She continues to catch him up on these less than pleasant or savory scenarios that have unfolded since they've been apart. How she almost went crazy after Mario got busted and then temporarily moved back to Nebraska to live with her folks, only to discover that everyone she knew there had died or ended up incarcerated. And that led her back to Minneapolis, where she thinks she's going to stay. When you come to find out her fate, it's like, yeah, bitch, you're staying. What do you think, you're going to go? You're a fucking legal mess here. You're not going anywhere. You're not pondering the notion of sticking around, and with each passing stanza, the narrative gets more and more depressing, even despite its author's attempt at finding some silver lining. She mentions that she thinks she's happy, only to then follow up with the lines that convey regret. And so that's an interesting dynamic in and of itself. I'm happy, but I remember these times. And it's like, oh, so are you really? So it seems to just undermine the whole opening line of the stanza, this portion of the letter within the card. She mentions an accident and money she wished she had, if not for all the dope she wasted it on, and how if she had had it, she'd buy a used car lot, not for the sale of vehicles and the revenue it might generate, but rather to be able to drive a different car each day. So yeah, she sounds like someone who's really straightened out or got her priorities in a row here. And fuck me, this next and final stanza takes an already depressing narrative and drives it deeper into the pits of despair as our author comes clean and divulges, and it's probably the first time she's been clean in a minute, divulges that most of what she'd outlined to this point was seemingly a lie. She divulges that she, in fact, doesn't have a gentleman suitor, but rather that she needs money to pay for her legal troubles, and that she should be eligible for parole come Valentine's Day. And all of this really leads the listener to have to sift through and perhaps come to some conclusions on their own about our narrator here. And it's kind of to just kind of fill in the gaps of the story, and the true intention of the card's author. For instance, the allusion to Valentine's Day and being eligible for parole, to me, hints at some sort of sad and likely misplaced assumption or hope by her that maybe they could rekindle whatever it is they had, to do in time for the holiday centered around this idea of love, which is poetic irony of the most depressing order. Um, and even the lying and subsequent revelation of the truth hints at behavior of a person still in the throes of addiction. That kind of like bipolar truth telling, lie telling stuff that just falls out of your mouth is definitely indicative of someone who's still lying to themselves first and foremost, which makes lying to anyone else that much easier and screams addict. Also, just based off the title alone, which I presume is provided by the card's recipient, not its author, conveys Charlie's true feelings about this woman. After all, it's a Christmas card from a hooker in Minneapolis, not a Christmas card from Janice or Samantha or even my ex in Minnesota. He uses hooker to prescribe a title to her, which I think suggests that he has got no intention of responding to this thing, or any of her overtures. So I really hate myself for loving this. Fuck, I do though, and for just recognizing the lascivious nature and all its characters. But I do love how this story made me think and made me feel. It also makes you happy about your own situation, even with the flaws that we all have involved. You know what I mean? I mean, we were talking about like, oh, the fuck having to go home for the holidays and the weird feelings that can stir up in you. That is first world fucking problems compared to what we're talking about here. So yeah, this doing wait songs reminds me a lot of like taking literature courses and like reading short stories or novellas or books, and then having to extrapolate from it the true gravity of it, not just what happens in black and white through prose, but like the underlying meaning or what could be meant in situations and dialogue and symbolism and the representation, all the metaphorical stuff that's happening beneath the obvious. That's why I like listening to his stuff more than his voice is warming to me or more than how he can command the piano. It's the narrative that wraps me up and leaves me with more than just the words written on the paper when he penned the song. And that's the biggest. It's going to sound corny. That's the biggest gift in this gift giving season that you get when you listen to Waits, is this experience, not just a song. So yeah.
Excellent. Thanks for that, Andy. Yeah. Right. Just to say straight off the bat, we have already listened to Shore Leave, Blue Valentine, this album, and Closing Time. So this will be added to the Tom Waits playlist. You can go back and watch all those in more detail. This song is the third track from the 1978 album Blue Valentine, and on the episode covering the title-ish track, we looked at this album in length. So if you want to know more about it, go to that episode. I will just concentrate on this song. Yeah, this is really interesting song. So it features Tom Waits, lead vocal, acoustic piano, and Da Willy Gonga, also known as George Duke, on electric grand piano. So there's actually two pianos going on there, from two different people. This is a real experience. I think this is written so well. It's almost like Hemingway.
Yeah, dude, Hemingway Baby Shoes was like how it's not about the words, it's about what the words mean outside of them. And this is a longer version of that, where that it's the same experience where it makes you feel shit, and it's not what's said, it's what is implied, and that's huge here.
Yeah, so the economy and the sort of the power of Hemingway, but with that sort of naturalistic dialogue and feel of like Steinbeck as well. So the two really, really nice. I just got to read you this because it's hilarious. So he he does this song live, and he does it as part of a 3-song medley, which I'll get into in a sec. But from a performance in New York on November the 21st, 1985, Waits introduced the song with the following anecdote. He says, I was in Minneapolis. It was 200 degrees below zero. I know you think I'm bullshitting. No, I swear to God. I was wearing just a bra and a slip and a kind of dead squirrel around my neck. He was colder than I was. The police cars would go by and they'd wave, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. Anyway, I got caught in the middle of a pimp war between 2 kids in chinchilla coats. They couldn't have been more than 13 years old. They're throwing knives and forks and spoons out into the street. It was deep. So I grabbed a ladle, and Dinah Washington was singing Our Day Will Come, and I knew that it was it. So that's the intro to the song. I mean, it's crazy.
Oh, Jesus.
Pop Matters placed Christmas Card from a Hooker in Minneapolis first on their list of the 15 best Tom Waits songs. And they said, there are more creative Tom Waits songs. There aren't quite as many that can utterly devastate a room full of people with quite the same slurred, finely detailed aplomb. For maximum tears in your boardroom, watch the live version, which features a Silent Night, a Waits' rendition of the Little Anthony and the Imperials song Going Out of My Head. The audience laughs at some of the lyrical gems, but after that final verse, you can hear a pin drop. The song also, it ranked 4th on the Guardian's list of the top 10 Tom Waits songs, saying, this hooker with a heart of gold narrative is certainly less patronizing than most, a darkly funny scenario that also stirs in us a sense of pity. There's a twist in the tale, naturally, from one of music's greatest raconteurs. So yeah, I'll get into it. I'll go with the lyrics, and then I'll just give you a bit of my thoughts on it. But you could talk about this for hours, I think.
Yeah.
So, piano intro. So tempted to do the voice, but I won't. Hey, Charlie, I'm pregnant and living on 9th Street, right above the dirty bookstore off Lyrical Avenue. And I've stopped taking dope. I quit drinking whiskey, and my old man plays the trombone and works out at the track. He says that he loves me, even though it's not his baby. He says that he'll raise him up like he would his own son. And he gave me a ring that was worn by his mother, and he takes me out dancing every Saturday night. And hey, Charlie, I think about you every time I pass a filling station. And I count of all the grease you used to wear in your hair. And I still have that record of Little Anthony on the Imperials. But someone stole my record player now. How do you like that? Hey, Charlie, I almost went crazy after Mario got busted. I went back to Omaha to live with my folks. But everyone I used to know was either dead or in prison. So I came back to Minneapolis. This time I think I'm going to stay. Hey, Charlie, I think I'm happy for the first time since my accident. I wish I had all the money we used to spend on dope. I'd buy me a used car lot and I wouldn't sell any of them. I just drive a different car every day, depending on how I feel. Hey, Charlie, for Christ's sake, if you want to know the truth of it, I don't have a husband. He don't play the trombone. I need to borrow money to pay this lawyer. And Charlie, hey, I'll be eligible for parole come Valentine's Day. Yes, there's a lot to unpack in there. I mean, the interesting thing is you don't know her name. As you say, she's the hooker. Charlie, again, we're not sure whether he is a friend or an ex or an ex-customer. One of the three. Just the exposition at the start, I'm pregnant and live, straight away. The first line, hey, Charlie, I'm pregnant. And I live off 9th Street. Apparently, there isn't a Lyrical Avenue in Minneapolis anyway. There's a Lyrical Place, but it doesn't really matter. But, it's above a dirty bookstore. It can't be above anything else. It's not a laundrette. It's a dirty bookstore. And there's the dope and everything, and the old man plays the trombone. There's a lot of trombone players in Waits's world, in his songs. I think that's something about them. And it's it's really sweet the way she says he loves me, and even though it's not his baby, he'll raise him as his own son. And it's almost like this tick box of the ideal man that a hooker would want, that can accept her, and accept the kid that isn't his, and even giving her a ring that was worn by his mother. So
Yeah.
again, there's that acceptance there, and takes me out dancing on Saturday night again in public. Is acceptance. And then you get this really interesting image of Charlie with a grease in his hair, and the little Anthony of the Imperials record. And again, it's a real shorthand. You can just imagine them out and dancing and this sort of it's a bebop sort of song, and and then I went crazy after Mario got busted. So the way she's talking, that they both know Mario. So again,
Yeah.
they're in this sort of underworld. And then I don't really know Omaha, but I imagine it's pretty straight laced. And she's back there with her folks, and it's like, yeah, it ain't gonna work. So she goes back to the bigger city. And that line, I think I'm happy for the first time since my accident. And there's lots of sort of theories on this, what accident means, whether it literally means an accident or it means maybe an overdose, maybe even a suicide attempt.
Yeah.
But they're in cahoots to a certain extent that she can just refer to it as my accident.
The accident, yeah. And
it could even be a miscarriage or something like that. All sorts of horrors, from where she is. But I mean, immediately she says, you rightly pointed out, I think I'm happy for the first time. And then I wish we still had the money we spent on dope.
yeah.
That's not ringing true. And she's lying to herself more than him, really. And there's stuff about the cars and different every day. It's quite childish.
But John, she lied to herself the moment she picked up the pen.
Yeah, of course.
To think that Charlie was going to give a flying fuck about this card. If he cared about her, he'd be there. If he hadn't moved on, he would be there. But so, I mean, she's again this delusion of an addict, right? Where you convince yourself and you run with it.
Yeah, but the lies, they're not just sort of lies. They have a sort of sense of authenticity to them. They are fantasies or wish fulfillments of where she wished her life went.
It's like a projection.
For the sake of it. And then the last bit, if you want to trivia, I mean, this is the saddest line of all. She said, "I don't have a husband. He don't play the trombone." It's like, you don't need to say that bit. If you don't have a husband, he doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
It's
if he doesn't exist.
Yeah, he don't play the trombone though. It's just really, again, so used to the word pathetic, but it really is. And of course, then there's the, as would be with a hooker, most things become transactional, and it's, I need the money for a lawyer, and hey, I'm available Valentine's Day.
Do you want to come back and rekindle?
Oh my God, you can get some of your money's worth.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day.
So you've just provided me a laundry list of reasons to not go back to Minneapolis, and then you sign off with, well, you know what? Parole is a possibility. So just in time for old Cupid and his bow.
You wonder which bit of that is true. I mean, I think borrow money and parole may be true. Is she pregnant? Maybe, maybe not. But then would you, say that, anyway, if you're trying to get something out of them? But it's really interesting that he creates this world within, a few verses. It's just so interesting. And it's great. And
you've got to hope, if you're Charlie, that you're not the culprit. You know what I mean? Because if that's the first thing she says, that kind of suggests that he may be the father, this Charlie. So
God, that's even worse. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. It's almost like she at the end that she kind of knows that Charlie isn't buying any of it. It's like this, a reaction to a conversation that's actually one way. She's like getting in her second reaction to him going, fuck,
as if you wouldn't just go back and erase the preceding paragraphs and then start from the truth in this case. Yeah.
No, it's a fantastic song. It's in my top 5 Waits songs, definitely. I mean, I really, really love it. And it just, it's a different take on a Christmas card, isn't it?
Oh, certainly.
Brilliant. Okay, I shall wrap things up. Thanks for listening to this, Andy.
It was absolutely my pleasure, man.
Folks out there, I hope that's given you a bit of the Christmas cheer. For those of you who are eligible for parole, please drop us a line and let us know how you're doing. But if you'd like this, do hit the like button and drop some comments. We'd love to hear from you what you think about this song in particular, Mr. Waits in general. I think this album is just superb. It really is fantastic.
I didn't even realize that.
Great songs on here. But yeah, if you haven't subscribed already, treat yourself. It's Christmas time. Tick that subscribe button and hop on board. We appreciate everybody who does support the channel. That being said, thanks so much for watching. Have a great holiday period and celebrate whatever god or gods you may follow, even if they come in bottles. And we'll see all of you very shortly on the next episode of The Audiophiles.
Merry Christmas, y'all.